Welcome into the final tribal, the final edition of season two Sandlot Survivor Cup. I'm here with Peyton. I'm here with Nathan, the final two that made it this whole way, this whole season. They've been battling, they've been breaking alliances, they've been forming alliances. All the strategy has led up to this. So, how today's going to work, I'm going to recap real fast the first 9 weeks on kind of how we got here. And then we have two sets of questions. So, the first set of questions is all survivor based. And then I actually had some people send in some fantasy baseball questions too. So, we'll do survivor first, and then we'll do a couple fun Sandlot Fantasy League questions towards the end. So, let's see if I can get this thing over. There we go. So I'm gonna recap real fast. Week one, I'm just gonna say who got voted out. I'm not gonna say there were a couple power ups used, but I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say who got voted out, kind of how we got here. So week one, Fanway got voted out. Week two, Logan got voted out. Week three was Preston. Week four, Jared. Week five, Stevie. Week six, John. Week seven, Clayton. Week eight was Marcus. And last week, week nine, was Luke. So here we are, final two, Nathan and PB. First of all, before we jump into the questions, how are you guys doing? How's it feel to make it this far in Survivor?
It's nice to be here. Was glad to make it all this way. I think last year I was like third or fourth, and I lost in the roto or something like that towards the end of the year. So finally, glad to get over that first year hump.
Yeah, Nathan.
I went down pretty early last year, so this feels awesome to get this far. Maybe a mistake of my own doing, but it's been a fun year. It's some shocks and changes this year that I would not have expected to happen. So,
And I do want to say, try to be as try to approach this as unbiased as you can. I know that one of these two individuals or both of them have probably broken your trust at one point this year. Maybe it was part of their game, maybe it was part of their game. So please don't take any ill will towards either one of these. Try to make this as fair of a game as we can. Try to vote for who you think is the best player, not just someone who broke your trust. Okay. So we're going to hop in. First, I have two questions that Marcus sent in. So the first question, we'll start with Peyton, and then we'll go to you, Nate. First question is, what secret powers did you use to keep yourself safe, if any? So if you used any, now is your time to talk about it. If you didn't, that's okay.
Yeah, I had the one of the immunity idols for answering one of the questions. I only told one person who I had that I had gotten that because we had kind of an alliance. I won't name any names or anything like that, but I held on to it, and then the only time I thought quite possibly that I could be have been in a little bit of trouble was that last round that you could use power ups, and that's when I played my immunity idol, and that was the only one that I had gotten throughout the time.
Nathan, what about you?
um, no secret power ups. Actually, only one this year. Changed from last year. I won seemed like all of them, but the one that I did get was in the last week there, and was also an immunity idol. So feels good to play it when you have it, especially if you're going to lose it anyways. So,
Yeah. So next question. Again, this is from Marcus. Many believe I'm reading it from his words. Many believe you were both drugged to the finals. Prove us wrong. Well, who did you manipulate to make it this far? Start with you, Nathan, on this one.
manipulate is a strong word. I wouldn't. I'd hate that word honestly. I no, just formed good alliances. Really, came to this year. Uh, I was trying not to make any kind of controversy to start, and I knew that I wanted to this year form up with Luke and Stevie because last year I was just pitted against them from the jump. And so I just very corely stuck in with those guys, and we all just kind of week to week tried to work the best we could. And but I wouldn't say I manipulated. There were some times where they definitely thought maybe we should do this guy, and then I did like I'll give a good example here is they wanted to get rid of I think Marcus 1 week, and I felt like John was a bigger threat with all the power ups he had won this year, and so my vote ended up being the only vote that counted that week. I think I can't remember if that was the week with the immunity or what, but we got John out with lots of power ups. So there's certainly, but I wouldn't say we manipulated or I manipulated anybody this year. Very much built on trust and just sticking with the two guys that I agreed to partner with this year. So
Iggy, what about you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I got drug or anything like that. I formed an alliance early with both Alanis's and Marcus and Clayton. And then as people started to get voted out and all of those things kind of happened, I played partner with both Marcus and Clayton within the last few weeks. And um, I mean, I honestly, Marcus, no hate, but I didn't want to see you win 2 years in a row. So there in the last week, I switched up and voted with Nate and with Luke there on that last attempt, just to try and save myself a little bit. Also, didn't want to see a back-to-back winner because there's no fun in that. So, which, yeah.
Yeah. So next question, next couple questions are from Luke. Um, and we'll start with UPB. Luke wants to know, what was your biggest move out of all the weeks that we had? What do you think your biggest move was?
I mean, I played it pretty safe the whole entire time. I'd say probably the biggest move would have been just that last week of switching up on Marcus a little bit. I mean, I stayed pretty well within my alliance, and we all voted accordingly to who we all thought would give us a good opportunity to advance. And so I never really took very much chances. So the biggest move would have probably been the last week of eliminations.
All right, Nathan, what do you think your biggest move of the season two Survivor was?
well, I hate to beat a dead horse. I didn't know this question was coming, but I do like the John move by me. I would say, other than the John move, maybe the biggest and the best move I made all year was just, like I said, picking Luke and Stevie and trying to just make amends and try not to make anybody mad to start the year and just stick with them rather than kind of flake back and forth because that didn't get me anywhere last year. So.
All right, and elaborate both of you guys on what your game plan was. And I know a lot of these questions are going to be kind of similar and you're going to have similar answers, but elaborate what your guys' game plan was coming into this year.
Okay, I'll start this time. I just my first thought was don't make a bunch of noise. Just kind of vote with what the majority said and go from there. Obviously, this year was teams, which I think was a fun addition and probably the right move going forward. Just because it helped kind of set you already kind of have an alliance set to start, and then you go from there. So I kind of fortunately drew the where I wanted to be anyways. So, but no, just try not to make a lot of noise until we broke out of teams, and then dig in deep where we could and figure out what the best moves, and just hope for good fantasy play. I mean, that's half of it too, right? So,
Mhm.
Yeah, I think just trying big strategy was just trying to form an alliance early. And so I did that kind of with Marcus and Clayton early on. Just that way, if you have 3 votes at least going towards somewhere, chances are a little bit higher depending on where everybody else strays in. And so with the guys that we had voting with, just trying to stay true to that alliance or whatever it could be to try and get numbers, to trying to survive and advance basically. Um, I mean, Nate and I may be the most two boring winners out of this group because we both tried to stay quiet as possible and not ruffle any feathers and just to try and stay alive. So
Hey, I got you this far, so you did something right. And then last question from Luke, Nate, or yeah, Nate, you want to go ahead and start this one off? And the question is, why do you think you deserve to win?
uh, shoot, that's a tough question, Luke. Why do I deserve to win? I mean, I have just as much a shot as Peyton. Let's be honest, but I really hope that my I guess game and my fantasy team and just my like I said, just loyalty was a big thing for me this year. Not flake on anyone, just stick with the two guys and go from there. So, and sometimes luck works out in your favor a little bit. I won in the right week that I needed to win, and the rest is history. So.
I feel like I played the long game. I feel like that's what helps me give the opportunity to win. Played the long game, played the smart game, tried to keep out of danger, tried to keep out of harm's way. I know that like guys like Stevie, guys like Vanway have a lot to say, depending on how that goes. I know Vanway was voted out early and Stevie was voted out, a couple weeks later, but um, just trying to stay out of the way of those guys that have a big say in things, try not to get on any bad side. Um, and really, I just tried to stay true to, getting to the next week and making sure I did that. So,
All right, next two questions are from Stevie. First question is to you, PB, and the question is, why is PB a snake?
I really don't, other than the last week of me being a snake, that would be the only way that I would think that that would be a question to be asked about me. I never formed an alliance with Stevie. Um, I mean, I don't remember if he texted me or not to vote a certain way. But I stayed true to my alliance until the very end. And if anything, Stevie, I think you'd be okay with me voting out Marcus, and that be the reason, that the only reason I was a snake. I could be wrong. I don't remember, but I tried to uh, stay true to where I was. And the only reason I think you could call me a snake was voting out Marcus. But if you want to call me that, then okay, that's fine.
And then it's also another question from Stevie, and this can kind of go to this one goes to both of you. How does it feel? This is a quote from Stevie. How does it feel to shut up the haters with both fantasy baseball team success as well as Survivor success this season? Nathan, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, that's fine. I feel like it's a lot more impactful, and it feels great to be on the fantasy baseball side of success. But I mean, this works great too. Just sometimes it's how the pieces fall in this Survivor League, and just playing the best game and getting where you can go. But the fantasy success is awesome. I mean, there were several podcasts in this short season we've had since they haven't really been going that were saying my team was the worst team in the league, uh, and so here we are. I mean, hard to beat that. So
Yeah.
it feels great. It feels great to be here. I'm very happy to be here and fortunate, but it feels great.
And PB, you had some early success. Your team's kind of slumping a little bit right now, but you had some early success, so you can kind of talk on that or
Yeah,
whatever.
the early success was nice. And then I started getting tanked with injuries. A lot of the key dudes that I had, that I was counting on, got hurt. So I mean, there was many weeks where I didn't have a full roster, especially in the batting roster, because I didn't have enough guys. I had too much IL spots taken up that I couldn't just move guys there and pick up new guys. So I tried to, wait some of that out. And then the injuries just continued to get extended, and then another guy would get hurt. But it was nice at the beginning of the year to be at the top. I'd never been that high up before, and now I'm back to where I stayed at the last few years. So it was fun while it lasted, but yeah.
Yeah. Next question is from Van Way, and um, it's to PB, the first part, and then the second part is to kind of both of you. So this is from Van Way. Ask PB, isn't it ironic that I tried to pair up with him in the first vote to get Nate out, and because he absolutely screwed me, now it's him and Nate in the final two. So he says, if he could go back, would he change that vote?
Jake, no offense, no, I would not go back and change that vote. You did this thing the last year and a little bit this year where you drew this big old target on your back. And so when you try and partner up and build an alliance with somebody who everybody's gunning for, it's kind of hard to survive and advance. Then once you get seen as somebody who's, kind of partnered up with that person, then you get attacked next. I mean, I think Nate's played a good game so far. But no, I wouldn't go back and change that. I'm sorry, Van Way.
And then kind of to you, Nate, he wants to know why should he vote for you?
Uh, you should vote for me because PB screwed you over. I mean, that's the easiest answer. But I mean, you credit the long game, I guess you could call it. Like I said, the loyalty this year. If you want to throw back to last year when I was loyal to you, we both went down. You could say that would be a good reason to vote for me. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the first answer was probably the quickest and the most efficient.
And PB, I know we've kind of asked this question. Why should somebody vote for you?
I mean, I thought I played it pretty well. Thought I played it the right way. I've said it. Nate said it. I mean, we both played the long game. And then I thought I made moves where it was necessary to keep myself alive and advance forward, especially towards the end, using my immunity idol, kind of switching up on Marcus a little bit to try and survive and advance. And then last week also when we were calculating some scores, I was picking guys up off the waiver wire, trying to get more strikeouts and hopefully some wins out of some guys, pitchers wise, to try and advance to this final week.
All right, so that wraps up the Survivor questions. So if you were, hopefully everyone's watching, and hopefully you guys vote on who you think played the best game, had the best answers, and all of that. I know there's some lingo that I'm probably not using that Van Way is going to text me and start yelling at me about, but just vote on who you think played the best game. What is it? Outwit, Outlast? There's another one I know I'm forgetting. Van Way will say you should watch Survivor. I know. So we're going to switch from Survivor questions, and then there's 3 questions just about your fantasy teams in general. So we're going to end on kind of a fun note. So it won't be much longer, but from Logan. Logan sent 2 questions about your fantasy teams. So the first question from Logan is, if you could trade teams with one manager, who would it be and why? And Nathan, you go ahead and start us off on this one.
Is it damning if I say Jordan, considering I traded him a lot of his team? I mean, yeah, I mean, Jordan would be good. Obviously, I really would say John's team, if you could, too. I mean, historically a winner, but I don't know. I mean, I'm finally turning a curve. It feels like, made all these big moves, big splashes, big controversy. I don't. If I had to trade, I mean, I would say I would only trade up, but really, I'd probably stay put if that was an option.
Yeah, PB.
I'm a big fan of Stevie's team. I like Stevie's guys. He's got a lot of good things going for him right now, both offensively and pitching. I'm a big fan of what he's got going on in his style. It's always a hard matchup when you go against Stevie, no matter what the week is, and just a big fan of it.
And Nate, you can kick us off with this one because you've made a lot of trades. And so he wants to know, who is the guy you regret trading the most? So like trading someone who maybe, popped off afterwards, or just someone you kind of regret losing the most, like a player gone too soon, maybe.
Oh boy, should I get out the list or no? I mean, I don't want to say Ohtani, although Ohtani is obviously the GOAT. I feel like Bobby Witt is one that kind of haunts me. I mean, he's so good, and he was good when I traded him too. Not that Ohtani wasn't, but uh, other than that, I mean, shoot, I'd have to really go through and look. I feel like most of my trades have been for the better, minus like Yelich for Patrick Sandoval, and
I mean,
uh,
Helen, yeah.
I'm sure there's a couple more in there, but probably Bobby Witt more than anyone really. I feel like we've really kind of stopped making trades for trades and just started making trades to be solid. So,
PB, you got anybody in your couple years that you regret, or even dropping somebody maybe?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, I've probably dropped quite a few that is doing well right now, but I'd say the biggest one that still kind of eats me is trading Chris Sale for a bag of chips. That was not that was early on, and when I thought younger guys would be better than guys who maybe have a few years left. Trading him early on to Clayton and kind of getting a little screwed over on that one, but it's okay. That's probably the biggest one that I regret because I think he's like top 10 right now in pitching. So
With that injury history, it's kind of scary. You just hope that he doesn't stay healthy, and he has honestly since you traded him. So,
Right.
and then question for Nathan to kind of wrap us out here. So this is from Preston. I'm just going to read you the exact question that he said. I'd like Nate's formula as to how he's 8 games back. Pretty sure he had 0 draft picks. If I could have seen his roster now back in March, I would have said he's a bottom third team. So I guess that's more of a statement, but he'd like to know your formula, Nate, of how you were 8 games back when, like you elaborated on earlier podcast prior, we're talking about how you're a bottom tier team.
Yeah. I mean, I had no picks, right? So, and I tried to get picks and nobody gave picks. So it was really difficult. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I scoured every MLB fantasy player site to figure this out. And if you look back at my keepers and looked at my roster, I mean, that's really what I was banking on with the trades I had made was my keeper success. And I mean, hey, everyone's like, you get lucky. Like, I mean, anybody could have taken a chance on Jordan Walker, right? But obviously, like he's blown up, and this is a debut year for him. So, and then like I traded with you. Was Tatis last year? Or was that this summer?
I think it was last year, yeah.
Uh, and so like you kind of figure I was kind of banking on him to bounce back. I got lucky on a couple guys that picked up that have been solid rotation pieces like Jake Bauer out of Milwaukee. I picked up the guy leading the league in steals like 3 weeks ago, and so he doesn't hit the ball well, but when he gets on base, he gets a steal. So, but a little bit of luck, a little bit of just banking on the players that I had to just finally do what I want them to do, really, and what we've been hoping they were going to do, and that's probably a lot of my success is these players that I've had that I've thought, hey, these are big time caliber players, maybe letting me down the last couple of years, or wow, I can't believe you make that trade for this player, and then this is what they've developed into. So
Basically proving the haters wrong this year, huh?
you could say that, yes.
So I'm gonna end this with two. I got 2 text messages. So I sent out yesterday. I just said, "Hey, I'm interviewing PB and Nate tomorrow for Survivor. Send me questions." I got one, and I debated on maybe I should keep this anonymous. I'll keep it anonymous. So I got one text. I said, do you have any questions? They said none. I'm voting PB to win. F Nate is the text I got. And then I got another text on the other side that said, tell Nate Dogg I love him and hope he wins. So I know at least 2 different people, one's on one side and one's on the other. So uh thought I would share. I'm not gonna say who, but those were 2 texts that I got yesterday that I thought were pretty funny. So
I honestly love that. And either way you go here, I mean, like PB said, we both played a great game. And honestly, like I'm going to say this now because he's not here and he can't. Not that I'm talking bad about him, but like if I had lost last week, because me and Luke were actually playing, so I texted him in the beginning of last week with all the scores and stuff, and was like, "Look, no matter how this ends up, if you end up winning this week and go on, like I'll be happy to vote for you, and I hope you do the same for me." Because, like I said, we had just formed that partnership. So, but yeah, PB here, awesome game, getting this far. Like you said, he got third last year, so he's got it. He's got it figured out a little bit, or he missed the roto, whatever it was. But yeah, either way you go here is, we're both happy to be here, and yeah, both. I feel like both guys in this case definitely deserve it. So
Yep, absolutely, Nate.
so that kind of puts a wrap on this. Please, I hope you guys stuck it out this far, watched it. Text me your votes, and I will read those votes on a video later this week. Hopefully, I can do it pretty soon. The faster I get the votes, the faster I can put out the video. So that wraps up season 2 almost. We have one more video left of season 2, which is kind of crazy that we've already done 2 complete seasons of Survivor, honestly. So please send me your votes and vote for who you think played the best game. Peace.